athletic presence and result from the Olympics in Rio 2016. We're going to get into a little bit of, was Rio 2016 a success? And you can say from the sports aspect, of course. From almost every other aspect, no. Complete and total disaster. We also want to get into like about 7 or 8 of the best photos from the Olympics, but we begin, Francis, with Usain Bolt. Because Usain Bolt made history going for the Olympic sprinting treble, 3 straight Olympics, 08, 12, and 16, 9 Olympic gold medals. He also gets a gold medal for being caught on WhatsApp for sleeping with someone that's not named his girlfriend.
Not just WhatsApp, you get caught in the club as well.
Oh, the club too. Right, that's true. So element numbers 2, 3, and 4, you'll see this a similar story to what we did not too long ago with Ezekiel Elliott, to which Francis called them, what are they, thirsty Snapchatting girls?
Yeah, thirsty Snapchat girls.
Well, Usain's definitely Usain Bolt.
Thanks, Chikori, for clarifying. As he goes in close. All right, so before I get to, once again, another, I'm not going to go on the same rant when it comes to these girls. Like, I understand it's not right. They will exploit athletes for their own personal gain. I just think it's kind of funny, first of all, that Usain Bolt symbolizes the Olympics. He is the record breaker when the cameras are on. I love this guy. He embraces everything that is good about the athletic community in the Olympics. And then when it's all closed and the lights fade away and everything that is the Olympics on camera, thanks to NBC and everyone else, goes away, he's doing some shady stuff in behind. He's doing some stuff that you don't think is as loyal as he should be in his character. That's the Olympics. Everything you see in front of the camera is phenomenal. It's portrayed with a nice gold ribbon or a gold medal right in front of it. But then when the cameras go off and the people leave that place, who's there to pick up the pieces?
Right.
It's those that have been kicked out of favelas. It's those that are in turmoil. It's those that people like Ryan Lochte try to exploit. And that's the harsh reality of the Olympics. I'm not here to depress you on this, going up today, this Tuesday afternoon, wherever you are. But I'm here to just provide a little dose of realism. So put that realism in with your coffee. It tastes good.
Stir it up, add some creamer.
It tastes decent.
And see how that goes down. Ryan Lochte, by the way, lost all of his sponsorships. That was the last night's Olympic story. You really? Just a big yeah?
Yeah, it's a big yeah from him. It serves him right. We talked about this before. Like, I understand that there's so much criticism put on certain people when it comes to the Olympics. Someone not putting their hand on their heart. And then you get the excuses flown in for a guy that, whether or not the story was fabricated or not, exploited an area's problem.
Right.
For his own excuse.
I just think a bunch of new sponsorships.
Oh, no doubt. The guy's
Mr.
not going to be broke.
Lysol, any kind of soap dispenser. Like, I mean, come on.
Urine sample organizations.
USADA would be good with that one. Our sponsored athlete, Ryan Lochte. But that was the big one.
Entertainment undoubtedly will give him another show.
Another reality show. But that was the big one from yesterday. In terms of the best photos, let's get into those. We start with Usain Bolt because it still was one of the best photos of the Olympics. His big smile as he literally beat everybody. This man is jogging past people. This all comes from Getty Images, and also a credit to News. Australia's news outlet was the one who posted some of these. Allison Felix, if you remember, getting beat after Shauna Miller dove right past her.
Incredible.
In the sprint. A picture from the closing ceremony. Again, actually what I really like about this picture too is it does show a little bit of the outskirts. It's a beautiful shot. It is with the fireworks and everything, but you do see on the very bottom of your screen what a lot of people, a lot of the Rio natives are going back to after these Olympics have fully concluded. Next up, I think we have the disparity between the blue and the green pools with the divers, an amazing overhead shot as well. Next up, we have Hiroki Igata, who's, this is one of the most famous pictures from the Olympics, also via Getty. His wiener cost him the pole vault on that one. Literally.
Tuck it in, man.
His pole cost him the pole vault.
I get it.
Katie Ledecky's ridiculous lead over the competition in U.S. women's swimming. And, of course, we have 2 left, which is Michael Phelps. Again, some of the shots from Getty, just truly unbelievable how they capture a lot of these images. And lastly, Simone Biles, who took over, just showing the flexibility and how high she can get up off the ground in terms of gymnastics. Some other photos that kind of crossed the world is Allie Reisman for USA when she was crying after she captured silver. There was the weightlifters when they were making their claim. There was some crazy photos of them.
I love the weightlifter that danced after every, either when he got it or he didn't, he just danced his way off the
Right,
stage.
right.
Phenomenal.
But to get into, was Rio a success? You can't believe, I couldn't believe the amount of radio broadcast that I listened to Monday morning coming into work that just absolutely got on their hands and knees and praised the Rio Olympics as this overwhelming success. Because what the TV and what the media does very, very well is tells you and shows you certain pictures and boosts certain storylines to make everything seem like it's okay. Rio was a complete and total disaster if you weren't an athlete.
Yeah.
It was. The hotels weren't ready. They looked very uncomfortable. They were making fun of them. The Team USA, Team Australia basketball, making fun of them. Swimmers and Olympic rowers and sailors, some of which could not compete because they had dysentery, but you wouldn't see that hitting any headline. So they lost out on their chance because it was such disgusting waters.
Yeah.
The pool had an algae problem. That's kind of funny because that had nothing to do really with an Olympics, the Rio problem. That just happened. And Ryan Lochte wasn't a Rio problem. That's a world problem.
Yeah.
And lying is another world problem. But from top to bottom, this was a country 7 years ago that was in perfect economic situation to host two mega events, the World Cup and the Olympics. And then the World Cup came, and it literally impoverished even more people in the slums of Rio, some of the most dangerous places in the world. And on top of that, they said 2 years later, let's have the Olympics. And the Olympics come around, and now Rio might never recover.
And do you know what's even worse about that is, as we found out, where's the next Copa America going to be held, Jason?
Not in Rio.
It's in Brazil.
It's in Brazil or in
Yeah,
Rio?
well, I mean, either or. I'm not saying that the whole of Brazil is in turmoil, but the economic infrastructure of Brazil is fragile. And if you go to any other place in Brazil, it's going to be the same problems. There's going to be homelessness resulting in somehow, in some strange way, further homelessness. Like the homes that they have built, paper thin, to try and give some sort of shelter, removed because of legislation from politicians whose pockets are heavy. We did all the research. We did the story on it, where they have no, because they're not exactly, just imagine it this way. If you don't have any credit in the United States and you go to try and put forward yourself for a car or anything else, and you won't get very far. It's the same in this situation. They don't have any credit or any status, so they are paper-thin homes, they're favelas. They don't have any weight to hold on to that, and therefore they're just shunned along to other areas, in areas that they've tried to build their home. But aside from that, I have another point that I think was a failure in the Olympics, was the journalistic integrity that was diabolical throughout. And I'm not just talking about points on racism and points on sexism, which are valid points. You have to take that into consideration. I'm talking about the disregard for the sporting industry that is Olympics, that isn't mainstream sports, and how people would disregard certain things because it's not the everyday American football, everyday soccer, everyday baseball. I just feel like a lot of articles gave a half-assed effort when covering the Olympics when it came to certain other sports, and they zoned in on things that they believe are going to grab the headlines. And then in doing so, they remain to be sexist. They remain to be racist. And I understand people will be like, oh, they're just too sensitive about these things. And probably the people that are saying that probably aren't the group that's been focused on here. That aren't the people that's gone through this turmoil. I mean, outlets like the Mercury News, when they ran the headline that stated, Michael Phelps shares the limelight with African-American swimmer. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, you're not going to say her name. You're not going to... She was the one that actually broke the record because she was the first African-American female swimmer to win. And it's little things like that that I think just highlighted that in terms of journalism and the way going forward in this world, we still have a long way to go. People still don't know how to move forward with the times.
Yeah, I mean, in general, the media is going to regularly pick the more polarizing athletes. Usain Bolt's going to dominate headlines. Michael Phelps and Katie Ledecky are going to dominate headlines. Simone Biles is going to dominate headlines. That makes sense. At least, and again, a lot of our coverage has been a lot about American athletes, USA athletes. That's not because I am disregarding other athletes from other countries. It's just that when you get a filter system of news, yes, NBC Sports is where we get to watch our Olympic broadcast, is going to focus on those athletes. Yeah. Unless you're a Usain Bolt and you take over the entire world type of situation. So yeah, lastly, I guess to wrap up, it's just shocking to me that every time this happens with the Olympics, it just, after 2 weeks, 3 weeks of Olympic Games, they just forget. The world just forgets that there wasn't, as if there was no problem in the first place. Yet the IOC is going to profit like madmen. And they claim at times, yes, even we, quote, dropped the ball. And it has been challenged running the games in a city where too much was ready too late, and having 4 distinct sporting venues situated around the city has presented its own logistical problems. So Tokyo's in 2020, right? But Tokyo seems like a country that can handle the Olympics. I would hope that they start to learn from the mistakes. And one of the crazier moments from the Olympic closing ceremony was the Prime Minister of Tokyo coming out of a warp pipe like Mario, Super Mario, to take over the Olympic flag for the Tokyo 2020 Games. So that will be interesting. One of the last points, I guess, for the comment section is on a couple of the sports radio shows. Some people believe that every 3 years, or the year leading up to the Olympics, that a lot of these stories are fake or over what's the word I'm looking for?
Dramatized?
Over-dramatized, overplayed. Like the Olympic hotels aren't ready. Like there's sewage in the bay. I don't think that was the case for Rio, because there was athletes who got very sick swimming in those waters, sailing in those waters. And the hotels didn't look like what an Olympic athlete who trains for 4 years should be staying in. I mean, for God's sake, Team USA Basketball opted to stay on a yacht. Is that because they're in a better profitable situation? Yes. However, that shouldn't be an advantage given to a team. Not like the Olympic Committee could give everybody a yacht, but they should make the hotels enough of a luxury for athletes to focus on the games themselves. But that's all I got on it. So for Rio 2016, our coverage has been wrapped up. If there's any fallout from the games themselves, you might not hear a little bit of Olympics coverage for a couple months. Who knows? We have a playlist of about 20, 25, 30 clips, I believe, on the channel. Make sure to check out all the content there. Everything else in the description box below, and we'll see you next time.